All right, what's up, team? Happy Monday, December 1st, last month of 2025. We're getting ready to get after it, and this is the second installation version episode of Monday Market Meetup. So thanks for joining us. People are going to probably be hopping on through the call, but I wanted to go over a couple things today about something that's very near and dear to my heart as a veteran. I try to, as best as we can, work with as many veterans as possible, help them utilize their VA benefits, also partner with, pair up with, and work with real estate agents who have the same goal. And so because of that, over the last probably 10 years or so that I've been doing this, one thing that I've found is there are sometimes agents and people in the real estate mortgage industry who have gone 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10 years, sometimes even longer, not ever having worked a VA deal, serviced a veteran, accepted a VA offer on a listing or anything like that. So I wanted to go over just a couple of quick things that as agents, something that you should be able to know that to look out for, something that's going to be maybe a little bit different than either conventional or different type of loan programs, and maybe dispel a little bit of some of the VA scaries, some of the things that are super miscommonly misunderstood, sometimes things that are just really not utilized to be able to help veterans and kind of look at VA loans in a different light. So with that said, we'll get right into it. So the VA loan, in my humble opinion, and I'm trying to say this as unbiasedly as possible as a veteran, as somebody who works to and aims to help as many veterans as possible, is probably one of, if not the best loan program that's out there. And when I say that, I look at that through the lenses and eyes, not of a loan originator, but that as what's most beneficial to its recipient, to the people who are using it. So if you're a veteran who is honorably discharged, actively still potentially serving, and it has earned the rights and benefits to be able to utilize your VA benefits to purchase a home, it has so many great caveats that can help veterans purchase a home, probably moreover than conventional FHA, USDA, other loan programs and stuff like that. So one of the biggest misconceptions that I'm going to kind of start with is how many times can you use a VA loan? One of the things that I get asked a lot is, well, I said, okay, if I'm talking to a veteran who's maybe a first-time home buyer, or maybe a veteran who's used their purchased a home before but never used their VA benefits, I always ask them, are we want to use our VA benefits? Like, why wouldn't we? And some of the feedback I get a lot is, well, I kind of want to use it and save it up for like my forever home. Or, I want to be able to maybe, maybe not in this house, or I bought a house before and I didn't use it. I'm scared to use it because maybe my offer is not going to get accepted or whatever it might be. The biggest thing is that you can use your VA benefits as long as you have them. As long as you have entitlement, you can use it over and over and over and over and over again. And in fact, another big misconception is you can actually have more than one VA loan that's out there at a time. So let's say, for example, I buy my first home as a veteran. I just get out of the military, buy a little starter home, stay in it for a year or two, and then maybe meet somebody and want to go start a family or get relocated in a job or anything like that. And I have a VA loan on this home, which is my first home, and now I want to use my VA loan to purchase my second home. I don't necessarily have to sell or get rid of my VA entitlement on this home, so long as whatever's owed on this home currently, my balance that's being guaranteed by the VA, and what I'm going to purchase on my second home doesn't exceed a certain amount per the areas that you're looking for and stuff like that. So one of the big things is obviously you can use it over and over and over again, as long as you have it, as long as you're eligible to use it. And you can have more than one VA loan at a time, so long as the homes you're purchasing are primary residences. Okay, so that's one of the really, really big misconceptions for VA users. So if you're ever talking to a veteran and they ask, well, maybe I want to use my VA benefits, maybe I don't, and maybe one of the hesitations is they don't think they're going to be able to utilize it more than one time, tell them not to worry. You can use it as much as you'd like. Secondly, as agents, right? One of the big misconceptions or feedbacks that I get when I call a listing agent on behalf of my VA buyer is, hey, this can't take that long. This market moves fast. and my seller needs to be able to accept an offer that's going to close in 30 days or less. Um, so I will say this about the VA loan process in itself, and it kind of is a rule for most programs. It's not a loan program. It's not the VA loan program that's going to potentially hold up the timeline from start to finish. It's the lender, it's their processes, it's the actual borrower themselves. Does the borrower have a clean bill of health as far as financially? Are they W-2? Is their credit score good? Is there any red tape or hoops you got to have to jump through? Because you're going to have to jump through a lot of those, depending and regardless, rather, on the loan type anyway, right? So VA loan, one of the biggest myths, doesn't take longer, doesn't have to go to the VA to underwrite separately. There's not two underwriting processes. It doesn't have to go off into magical, VA land or whatever, where we don't have control of it or anything like that. For us specifically, we underwrite it, and as long as it meets VA guidelines, and we only write to VA guidelines, because some banks, lenders, credit unions, brokers, whatever, they might have other I guess we'll say like loan level price adjustments or like guidelines to follow, even on top of what the VA requires, which shouldn't have to happen, but it does, unfortunately. A VA loan doesn't have to take more than 30 days, guys. And in fact, we can close loans, VA loans, just as quickly, if not quicker than most other ones, right? As long as the buyer's got their ducks in a row, the lender's done their job to make sure that they're pre-approved, they have everything done. Real estate agent knows what to look for, ask for when it comes to inspections, different types of property inspections, real estate documents, stuff like that, which we're going to go over here in a second. The loan process in itself is 30 days or less, hands down, so long as nothing comes up with like inspection, appraisal, stuff that's out of our control, right? So that's another big one. And then the last one I'm going to touch on as far as myths about the VA loan is that the fact that a veteran can utilize a 0% down payment, it's not seen as strongly, I guess, is however we want to word that. It makes it look as if though the borrower or the veteran is a weaker because they can put 0% down, as opposed to somebody who is having or can put 20% down, right? So number one of the biggest advocates, or one of the biggest things and best, I guess, like advantages of a VA loan is that you can put 0% down. I'm a big advocate of that. I don't think down payment should play much into an offer's strength. I've done loans where people have to put 20% down or more just to qualify, not because they want to, but because they can. Now, a VA loan has the advantage of being able to put 0% down. And, whether they want to put 10, 15, 20% down, whatever it might be, sometimes keeping the money in the bank, making improvements to the home, maybe buying new things for the house, that just makes way more sense than putting more money down. So the rule of thumb is usually for every $10,000 that anybody puts down to lower their principal, it's roughly about $50 a month that they are saving. So a lot of times we look at the return, it's like, hey, do you want to put X amount down? It's going to lower your payment by this much, or would you rather have this much liquid? And now we're off to the races and good. So please don't misconstrue that the fact that a veteran can put 0% down means that they don't have money, means that they're not a strong buyer. They're just taking advantage of what the program offers. And I think that that's pretty cool. So 3 big misconceptions. You can use your VA loan as many times as you want. You can have more than one VA loan at a time. They don't take longer than any other loan, right? Loan officers should know how to be able to structure, manage, and take care of that process and work with the realtors to be able to do so. And then, number 3, just because they can put 0% down does not mean they're a weak buyer at all. Okay. So next, I want to go over inspections. So these next 2 things, we're going to go over the inspection and we're going to go over the appraisal, because those are obviously 2 really big parts of and up front of the process that I would love for my realtors that I work with, and any realtor, honestly, to be able to know to educate their buyer and their veteran, and even the listing agent, or have an information as the listing agent to be able to help facilitate if the buyer's agent doesn't really work with VA quite often, is this. So inspections, guys, for most loans, in fact, almost all loans, home inspections aren't required. Now, with that said, I'm going to asterisk and heavily advocate for please get a home loan, or please get a home inspection. Like, safe. We want to make sure that everything that's taken care of, you're not buying a house that's going to be a lemon. You're not buying a house that is going to kind of, kind of crumble on you as you buy it. So get a home inspection, right? But when it comes to the VA, I hear this all the time. Well, we're going to get our home inspection, and then when does the VA inspection start? And I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. There's not a special VA inspection that has to happen. Save a couple of instances. Now, they're not completely different inspections. They're inspections that can happen inside of your home inspection. So, for example, there is 2 tests that need to be ran on most, if not all loans, depending on the situation. So the first one is what's called a wood destroying insect inspection or a pest inspection. So in Michigan, little known fact, there are counties that the VA does not require a pest inspection. So a lot of people think, well, heck, it's a VA loan. Now I got to spend this money to do this other inspection, and it's required, and we have to have it. And now who's going to have to pay for it? Does the seller have to pay for it? Can the veteran pay for it? Which, by the way, depending on the cost and things, they can. So make sure you check with your lender on who can pay for that. But the wood destroying pest inspection, number one, I would always recommend that you do it just because it's safe to have. But number two, if it's a make or break between, hey, the seller does or does not want to take this offer, they don't want to feel like they have to go through these extra magnifying glasses of inspections. Well, they don't have to. In some counties, Michigan doesn't require, or the VA does not require a pest inspection for the VA. So check with your lender. If you get a veteran that's accepted an offer under contract, first thing you should ask them, or one of the first things is, hey, does this county, does this home, do we require a pest inspection per the VA? Okay. Secondly, the other test that needs to be done, if and only if the home is on well or septic, is a water test. Okay, because the biggest thing that the VA looks for is it's not that their inspections or their appraisals are more stringent. It's just they look for safety concerns. They want to make sure that the veteran and their family is going to be safe. So if the home is on a well or septic, you should know as a real estate agent right up front, hey, we know we're going to have to order a water test inside of our home inspection. Okay, so it's going to check for it. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, just simple nitrates, irons, all this other stuff to make sure that the water itself is safe, potable for the veteran and their family to drink. So if you're dealing with a veteran, if you're a buyer's agent, know off the top of your head, whenever we're looking to get those inspections, we're adding 2 to the list, unless you're in a county that the VA does not require it. You get a wood destroying insect inspection and a water test if and only if that home is on well or septic. Excuse me. And then the last thing, guys, that I want to touch on is the appraisal, right? So a couple years back, the VA amended their timeline, right? The VA and the military in and of itself, if you have been in it, you've known anybody that's been in it, is very regimented. It's on timelines. There's a start and a stop time, and we want to be able to make sure that things are going congruently and smoothly and all this other stuff. Well, a couple of years back, the VA identified that their appraisal process was honestly, guys, it was pretty tragic. It took a while. It wasn't super advantageous. It kind of kept people waiting. So what they did is they said, hey, we're going to now set a timeline between the date that the appraisal order is received and the date that that lender and that client, that veteran has to have that report in their hands. Outside of extenuating circumstances, which are going to be communicated through the process, it's 10 days. So if I say, hey, on a Monday, on the 1st, we're going to order your appraisal gets accepted by a vendor, by an appraiser. By the 10th, those 10 days later, we should have that report in hand again, unless something happens. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, VA loans never appraise. The home's never appraised when you're using a VA loan. Respectfully, that's the biggest load of crap I think I've ever heard. A loan program does not predict, it doesn't have any type of weight on the value of the home. The value of the home should be the value of the home. Okay. So with that said, one of the advantages of a VA loan that is better than conventional FHA, USDA, any type of extra loan program is that if for whatever reason the value is to come in short on conventional FHA, well, let's do this. Conventional, you get one shot unless maybe you can switch lenders and order another appraisal, which is going to cost the client an extra $400 to $600 or whatever it might be. If it's FHA, well, it doesn't matter if you can go to another lender or not. That appraisal is stuck with that property for the next 6 months. You can't really order another one. It is what it is, right? So with a VA loan, If they find out that the appraised value is going to come in lighter than the purchase contract, you're going to have two shots. The first one, the appraiser is going to issue what's called Tidewater. And Tidewater is just saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to tell you how much this is short, but I just know that there's a gap between the purchase price and what I think the value of this home is. And that's where your lender, your realtors are going to say, hey, let's come up with a couple properties that we think determine that the value of this property is valued. And then so we'll submit that, and whether they change it or not, let's say they do change it, and now the value is good, now everything's fine. Let's say, nope, I'm not convinced. Here's the value. Maybe it's 5-10 grand short, whatever it might be. Now we get a full report. We get to see the comparables that are used. We get to see the quality, the just everything of why that appraiser said, I think that this home equals that value. Now, normally on any other loan program, you'd have to be able to be done, right? We've already given them some comparables, but now we can then do a reconsideration of value. So we actually get two swings to change the value of this thing if for whatever reason it comes in light, which is, I think, more beneficial, doesn't come at a cost to the veteran at all, and can happen pretty simultaneously too. So guys, those are the three things I wanted to go over. Just know that VA loans in and of themselves, they don't take longer than any other loan program. For the people that are able to utilize their benefits humbly and professionally, I think they are probably the best loan program out there. 0% down, no monthly MI. You can waive what's called a funding fee if you receive VA disability. It can be passed to, passed to spouses or dependents, depending on the transfer, how the veteran is able to transfer those, which is a whole other thing we could go into. But the big thing is that, guys, veterans can use them. They're not scary. They're a solid loan program. They don't take longer than any other loan program. Don't be afraid of the inspections. Don't be afraid of the appraisals. If you have any questions about any of that, all you got to do, give me a shout. I'll be happy to go over and talk about anything that you guys need. And just know, if you want to maybe increase your pool of people that you want to be able to serve, well, by all means, go after veterans, because they're going to be able to help increase that. And there's a lot of properties that I think people wouldn't see as being VA passable. That would be completely fine. So that's my time, guys. 15 minutes is in the books. 3 quick topics: inspection, timeline, myths about our appraisal, and myths about VA commonly misunderstood. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, I'm happy to help. But thanks for coming to Monday Market Meetup, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Cheers, team.